the link to watch the Andrew Schultz interview with President Trump, I had already watched the PBD podcast and their reaction to that podcast with the president and Andrew Schultz.
Okay.
So my and they did like the highlights of it. Okay. So my viewpoints were already biased or filtered.
You watched it, yeah.
Through their perspective of the video.
Okay.
But when you sent it to me, I said to myself, it's interesting because that's basically it. It's our perception. So when I started watching it, I had his frame of thought in my mind, but then I said to myself, yeah, but Kamala's doing this too now.
Yeah, but have you listened to Kamala's? I have listened to Kamala's interviews.
I've heard, again, only like highlights, like little reels, you know. I haven't sat through the whole thing, just like I almost sat through this interview with Andrew Schultz. And what I'm trying to say is that people are left with, again, the perceptions of these popular podcasts, not really their own.
I see. So you're saying...
That's number one.
But I haven't heard any... I've only heard the podcast, them talking. I haven't heard any reviews of the podcast.
That's why your perspective. That's why I wanted to ask what your perspective of. So that's the first thing I gathered from it. That first of all, a lot of why people stay in their bases is because they're not really behind the person that they're supporting, but they're behind the popular group of people that present that perspective.
Yeah,
they don't form their own. That's number one. That's the first thing I noticed on that. The other thing I noticed is that
basically, if Kamala Harris is on a show, they won't watch the show. They'll find their favorite person, be like, what did you think about it? So I can believe that. And
that's their perspective that they're going to gain about the actual show or the actual person.
But they didn't really watch the interview.
They watched the perception of the interview. Yeah. And that's everybody. Every platform almost. And you know who the people are that you follow. The